Good afternoon. To me, this is more than a good afternoon. This is a great day for the City of Pikeville and our partners, the Southeast Chamber of Commerce, under the leadership of CEO Jared Arnett, and the Airport Board under the direction of Chairman Bill Hickman. United, we put together a plan. We never gave up, showing that working together towards a common goal and see what can be accomplished. What some thought and even said would be impossible, the possible has happened by launching commercial air service for the people and the business of this great region. I'd like to thank our local legislators, Senator Ray Jones and Representative Leslie Combs, for their leadership and continued support the people they serve. Above all, I'd like to thank all the local businesses that have supported this initiative from its inception. The business of this region saw the vision, understood its impact, and took the time to write letters of support, which led to the award of a $750,000 Small Communities Commercial Air Service grant to help this possible. This highly competitive grant was awarded this region due to its overwhelming support it received. As many of y'all know, this has been several years in the works to bring commercial air service to our area, which in my opinion is several years too many. Now is the opportunity for us to showcase what we have to offer in our great region, for tourists that want to visit, or to make it easier for businesses to grow and prosper. This is an opportunity to open the hills of the Appalachian region to the world, allowing us to market our resources, goods, and most important asset, our people. No more will we have to tell prospective doctors, attorneys, bankers, or businesses that we have a great community that we want you to visit, but it may take you 2 or 3 hours to drive here. People of our region deserve and expect more for their leadership, and this is a giant leap by the good people who sit on this stage and the audience who care about this greater good and by ensuring a better quality of life for those we serve. I would like to personally thank Congressman Rogers and Governor Beshear and all their staffs for fully supporting and putting together funding packages to make today possible. Trust me, this did not happen by accident or by chance. Both saw the opportunity this will bring to our region, and with our slumping coal economy and the loss of over 6,000 coal-related jobs, this is a giant step and a valuable tool in assisting us in showcasing the region, allowing us to take the necessary steps to diversify in order to open up the opportunities for job creation. I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge our consultant and expert, Luke Schmidt. Without him, his expertise and abilities, this day would not be possible. Luke, whatever your fee is, you're probably overpaid as far as I'm concerned. As with many of our recent projects, the City of Pikeville has taken on or helped progress, such as the Jenny Wildy Theater, the Pikeville Commons, help with the Pikeville Medical Center expansion, the Hilton Gardens, the UPike Medical School, the Scholar House, and many others. The City of Pikeville, the Mayor, and the City Commission have remained united in doing projects for the best interests for the citizens of Pikeville and a better quality of life for all. And we will continue to do so because we're proud to serve our community, and we will continue to do so in a respectful and honorable way. I want to thank everyone for coming out today. I believe this will be one of those days I go down and say, you know, I was there. Tell your children and grandchildren when commercial air service came to Pikeville and what a benefit it made to and what it did for us. At this time, I'd like to introduce a good friend, President James Hurley at the University of Pikeville.
But we're so very blessed to be here because of the leadership that the City of Pikeville has. With our mayor, our justice, and our councilmen, we truly are blessed, and we are a progressive city. We may be small in stature, but if you look at the things that have transgressed and the progress that has occurred in the last 10 years, it's remarkable. And I've often said that those of us who travel the country and visit many cities, we truly have one of the very best cities to raise a family and to live and work and play and educate. And so we're blessed. And behind the councilmen and the mayor, someone has to do all the work. And we're blessed to have a city manager that understands hard work, that has a future-focused vision for this region. And I can assure you at the university, and we have been blessed with tremendous growth, and it's because of the partnership with the city. But it's also because of the countless emails and tireless texts and phone calls with the city manager and trying to bring about change. And so without further ado, I would like for us to welcome our city manager as he brings forth comments and introduces the sage guest, Donovan Blackburn.
James, thank you for that wonderful introduction. Governor, Congressman, Senator, Representative, Mayor, Commissioners, special guests, colleagues, and friends, on behalf of the Pikeville-Pike County Regional Commercial Air Service Committee, consisting of myself, Jared Arnett, CEO of the Southeast Chamber of Commerce, and Bill Hickman, Chairman of the Pikeville-Pike County Airport Board, and our expert consultant, Luke Schmidt of LB Schmidt and Associates, we welcome you to this momentous occasion. Today is not only a day of celebration, but a day of example, a victorious showing of how a dream which led to a movement became a reality through great vision, outstanding partnership, and a sharing of the responsibilities of a common goal to simply be, do, and expect more. The famous aviator Charles Lindbergh said, "Living in dreams of yesterday, we find ourselves dreaming of the impossible future conquest." Our economy, our future, and our very way of life is threatened by an unfair regulatory policy. As leaders of the great people of the Appalachian region, we must stop living in the dreams of yesterday, wake up and understand the reality of today, and find smart ways of making a better and brighter tomorrow. We need to understand that doing the same thing over and over, but expecting different results, simply do not work. We must find a realistic solution and stop chasing impossible conquest. There are great challenges ahead, but leadership in our communities, dressed not only as politicians, but bankers, teachers, doctors, engineers, attorneys, CEOs, shopkeepers, business people, and parents, have great dreams and ideals that can change our current direction, allowing our economy to diversify and prosper by simply sharing a dream and becoming involved. Today is a perfect example, showing what can happen when everybody sees and understands a common good and an ideal that works cohesively together. Let me explain the composite of the partnership that made today's announcements a reality. Those seated around the table were not only Pikeville government officials, airport board members, or Chamber of Commerce board members, but were men and women who provided leadership in their day. Jobs as co-operators, teachers, general managers, train engineers, investment bankers, attorneys, communication managers, and small business owners and entrepreneurs vested in this region, shared in common need, and finding a way to create results. 3 agencies came together, each with something different to contribute, and with the support of their local, state, and federal agencies, offered incentives to private investors in order to bring a valuable service to the region that can make change happen. It took not only a dream, plan, and partnership, but a lot of hard work. New leadership on the airport board with the mayor's appointment of Bill Hickman created change that yielded great results. Over the past couple of years, the airport board has made decisions to position themselves to make the regional airport marketable for commercial air service. With a $4.5 million in new investments, it became a first-rate facility that caught the eyes of interested parties. By the city of Pikeville annexing the airport into the city limits, we were able to provide first-rate, full-time emergency responders needed to meet the requirements for commercial air service. The city also applied for and was given 3 grant endorsements by the Chamber and the Airport Board. We then hired an expert consultant, asked for a new feasibility study. On top of that, of the study that already existed by the ad district, and made a few marketing and PowerPoints. We traveled to places like Tempe, Arizona, New York, and other major airline corporate offices in order to find a first-class operation, which happened to be right outside of Nashville, Tennessee. Then we made numerous trips and meetings to Frankfurt and Washington, D.C. Finally, after 4 contracts, here we are. Through the labor and the cooperative spirit of many, we were successful. In a moment, I'll introduce several of our partners sitting behind me. Before I do that, I want to express my thanks to a couple of special guests. First of all, the Mayor, Justice, and the Pikeville City Commission. When I describe them, my favorite verse to do so is in Proverbs 29:18, which says, "Where there is no vision, people perish." If the rest of the region would live by the model set by these 5 men, I promise Eastern Kentucky would prosper. The proof is in their success and under today's example. I'd also like to thank Representative Leslie Combs and Senator Ray Jones. Their commitment to this region and working for us in Frankfort has made a lot of things happen. A $200,000 commitment to help this facility prosper and grow was just part of that commitment. But day in and day out, they're not only in their own homes working, but they're in Frankfort ensuring that the things that need to come before us are important, are taken care of first. I also want to thank for this project Senator Mitch McConnell, which Donna McClure is here today representing, Senator Rand Paul, and Speaker of the House Greg Stumbo. For their letters of support and their commitment to making this work, we were able to establish and create letters of support and funding for this project. In a moment, I'll introduce a couple of guest speakers behind us and have a few comments to say about them, but I also want to thank a couple of folks that's out in the audience today. First, I mentioned the airport board. For those gentlemen that are on the airport board, if you would please stand. On the airport board is Lyle Blackburn, Jack Sykes, Dr. Rakesh Arsteva, Greg Johnson, and Brett Wagner. Gentlemen, we appreciate your contribution and their service to your community. At this time, I'd like for the Chamber of Commerce board members to stand. A round of applause, please. Again, the Regional Chamber worked tirelessly getting letters of support, understanding the need and supporting of small business, and to open ourselves up to trade. So for your commitment and for what you did for this, we are greatly indebted and appreciative. Also, a couple of members in the audience that we want to acknowledge, and we certainly appreciate you being here. And I attended an event, John Douglas, he's sitting there, not too long ago, that John Doug was in the same position, the deputy judge, executive judge, and what he said resonated with me, and that is that sometimes when you make these introductions, you leave somebody out. So if there's somebody that I've left out that it's a appointed or elected official, I sincerely apologize, first-handed. But again, with the commitment of our elected and appointed officials, we appreciate you being here today to support this initiative, and we thank you for your contribution. First of all, I would like to recognize Sandy Runyon with the Big Sandy Area Development District. Sandy, if you're here somewhere, I saw you a moment ago. Okay, thank you. Also with the county, I just mentioned John Doug Hayes. John Doug, we appreciate you and your staff attending on behalf of the judge. The judge had to leave earlier for the same commitment. He is heading to Louisville for the UPI game. Also, magistrates Hillman Dotson and Leo Murphy. Please stand to be recognized. Gentlemen, we appreciate your support. Our jailer, Rodney Scott. Rodney, as always, we appreciate you. We also have with us Cody Polly and Ben Hill with the Department of Local Government. Is there any elected or appointed official that I have left out? If so, please be recognized. Okay. Again, we appreciate your attendance today, and soon we'll have the unveiling of our new logo and our new name for our airline. But before we get to that, we have a couple of guests that we're inviting to the podium to make a few remarks. The first person I would like to bring up is a gentleman that I met during one of my trips with Luke to Tempe, Arizona. We met with U.S. Air, and this was my first introduction, and somebody that has great vision, a great product, and a great partner now. So without further ado, I would invite Alan Howell, to the CEO of Corporate Flight Management, to the podium for a few remarks. Alan?
Governor Beshear, Congressman Rogers, State Senator Jones, Kentucky Aviation Commissioner Attorney, Mayor Justice, Mayor Pro Tem Carter, and other distinguished guests. With me today representing the Corporate Flight Management team are Leon Custers, our Chief Operating Officer, Matt Chaffetz, our Chief Commercial Officer, and our flight crew, Captain Scott Stevens and First Officer John Flemings. Corporate Flight has a 31-year history of serving the aviation needs of travelers and aircraft owners and other aviation businesses. We were founded and are owned by aviation leaders and team members who are not only experienced but also passionate about aviation and all that it does for connecting people and business and personal travel. As an industry leader in the southeastern United States, we operate, maintain, and service and sell aircraft and deliver aviation services to businesses, governments, and individuals across the world. We operate by a set of core principles that include integrity, individual and corporate accountability, a passion to serve, and continuous improvement. First and foremost, we believe in treating others as we would want to be treated in every action we take. We maintain the highest safety certifications exceeding the federal regulatory requirements of our industry, including a platinum certification by the Aviation Research Group US and the International Standards for Business Aviation Operations Stage 2 certification. Safety is at the core of everything we do. Over the history of our company, we have flown former U.S. presidents, governors, U.S. senators, and congressmen, leaders of industry, and we have been proud to be in a small group of aviation companies here in the U.S. who have served our U.S. military as an approved air carrier for the Department of Defense. We maintain an excellent reputation for reliability, safety, and integrity. As other speakers today will affirm, aviation and air service is a vital part of a community's transportation infrastructure in supporting economic growth and quality of life. It is a critical ingredient that expanding companies look for when determining where to locate new facilities. Today is a significant and exciting day for all of us. This is the beginning of an innovative partnership between federal, state, and local government, the local business community, and the aviation businesses represented here to bring a unique solution to the problem that many communities are facing across this country. Over the past 100 years, our country has developed the most efficient and advanced aviation system in the world. We continue to lead the world in all aspects of aviation, including military, commercial, and general aviation. The traditional airlines in this country have served us well, but they are in a state of change as they seek to make a profit and stabilize their businesses. They are transforming into a system that serves large and mid-sized cities well, but no longer serve the small but growing communities in this country. In the next few years, traditional airlines will serve fewer airports, and in many cases, those airports they continue to serve will see less service. The general aviation industry has filled much of this gap left by the airlines over the years by serving the 5,000 airports in this country which do not have airline service. Airports like Pikeville and the one I grew up in Middle Tennessee provide flight training and air taxi service and maintenance and fuel service support for the local private aircraft owners and inbound flights. These airports continue to be the gateway to their communities for attracting new businesses and allowing local businesses the ability to reach their markets by private air travel. General aviation has served communities well, but there is still a gap in air service that remains. Neither the traditional airline nor traditional general aviation business models can meet the needs of all travelers in an efficient and economic way. The strategic partnership and service we are announcing today serves to close that gap by creating the innovative business model of delivering air service. Although innovative, the service is built on a solid foundation of safety, reliability, and customer service our company has developed over our 31-year history as an operator of aircraft. We are proud to be here today partnering with the Pikeville community, the state of Kentucky, and Jim Gallagher and his company, Public Charters. I would especially like to thank Luke Schmidt for his steady and persistent efforts over the past 3 years to put this together. We commit to you, the community, to provide safe, reliable, and customer-friendly service. We look forward to working with all of you to deliver the best air service to this community. Thank you very much.
Alan, thank you. Next to the podium is another key component to make this model work, which is our new partner with Public Charters. I would invite to the podium Jim Gallagher, President and CEO of Public Charters, for a few comments.
Thank you very much. It's my honor to be here. I want to thank the community for being forward-thinking people. We really like forward-thinking people here. And your leadership team that wants to take you to new places. You need a good leadership team in taking you to new places. We're proud to say that Nashville being one of them, we're going to start that pretty soon. I'd like to say that I planned having my iPad here, the colors of the new service, and I'm not going to give away just a little hint of what they're going to unveil, but I'd have to give the credit to my children because they commandeered my iPad here. It's real important to be forward-thinking, and we know that this community is forward-thinking. You guys have moved rivers with your cut-through project. Now we'd like to move passengers with our passenger service. We started, I've been in this business since 1995. We started a new company, Public Charters, in 2009. What we did is we took private air service and we made it public. And we came up with this real fancy name called Public Charters, and that's what we're going to be flying here today. While we're not perfect, you will always get 110% out of us. We're going to try our best. We're going to do our best to deliver a service that'll meet the community needs. With that, I'd like to let you know that these fancy covers are going to be on sale in our in-flight entertainment for $9.99, and we do appreciate your business. Thank you.
True marketing opportunity. Next, I would like to invite to the podium, as I mentioned earlier, there were several trips made to Frankfurt, and one such trip, which consisted of myself and Luke and our favorite representative, Leslie Combs, we went down and had a meeting to pitch the ideal, to explain the importance, and we were met with a complete understanding, open arms, and a willingness to work. With that, I would like to bring to the podium next my good friend, the Commissioner of Kentucky Aviation, Wynn Turner.
Well, we're really glad to be here. This has been a long, long journey. You should be really proud of how these people have continued to be determined to get this service here. It's been a long time. I also want to say on behalf of Mike Hancock, the Cabinet of the Transportation, is sending his regrets. He was not able to come today. He was stuck with Federal Highway Administration officials all day, so he sends his regrets, also his congratulations for you all to have accomplished this. As I said before, this has been a long journey, and I remember particularly the initial visit that Donovan is talking about. We met up at the Capitol. There was Donovan, myself, Luke Schmidt, Representative Combs, I think Russ Romine, Special Assistant to the Transportation Cabinet Secretary. And at that time, the discussions were led by then Chief of Staff Mike Hayden, who unfortunately is no longer with us. But we enjoyed that particular meeting. It kind of started things going. And so we're very happy that this thing has come to fruition and that you all are going to get this service. I also want to mention the fact that these things do not happen overnight. Obviously, I think that meeting was November the 16th, 2011. So in 10 days, that would have been 2 years ago. But initially, I think the original funding source for this project did not develop. Your governor jumped right in, contacted the Secretary of the Transportation, Mike Hancock, and in conjunction with the Department of Aviation, we were able to come up with a fund grant of the amount of $570,588. We put that together as quickly as we put any grant together that I've ever seen. So I think you really owe your elected officials, the people who have worked on this, a lot of recommendations for what they did. They've done so much for you. You ought to be very, very proud of them. I know that the Cabinet and the Department wish you all continued success in this endeavor, so we're glad to be here and to be a part of this. Thank you very much.
In my opening comments, I introduced this gentleman already. This is somebody that has become a great friend, actually ingrained in our community over the past several years, and has made a major difference in making this a reality. At this time, we would like to introduce Luke Schmidt with Luke Schmidt, LB Luke Schmidt. Luke, if you come up for a few comments.
Thank you, Donovan, and Governor Beshear, Congressman Rogers, Mayor Justice, and distinguished guests. It's a great day for Pikeville. It's a great day for Pike County, and certainly a great day for all of Eastern Kentucky. I would like to take just a couple of minutes to provide just a little bit of historical background on this project. I personally began working on it a little over 3 years ago, and from the beginning had 3 clients that I worked with in tandem, and that was the City of Pikeville, the Pikeville-Pike County Airport Board, and the Southeast Kentucky Chamber of Commerce. And we've been focused really on one thing since we started, and that is to bring scheduled passenger air service to Eastern Kentucky. And today we're really pleased to welcome 2 great companies, Corporate Flight Management and Public Charters Incorporated, to the region. And Alan and Jim, we really thank you and appreciate your commitment to Eastern Kentucky. Thank you. I've gotten to know the leaders of these 2 companies over the past several months and several years, and I know that they share our commitment when it comes to providing safe and reliable and comfortable air service to this region. This new air service will connect Pikeville directly to connecting flights in Nashville, operated by 9 different airlines, including low-cost carrier Southwest, to 50 nonstop markets around the country. And imagine, if you will, boarding a plane here in Pikeville at 6:30 in the morning, and after one brief stop in Nashville, you can get off the plane in Los Angeles at 12:10 p.m. And no longer will it be necessary to drive to Lexington or Charleston to catch a flight. And Pikeville now is just one stop away from important destinations like Chicago, New York, Washington, Dallas, etc. And more importantly, for the first time, companies interested in investing in this region will now find it much easier to get here. Access to the global air service system is what this new service is all about. Coal company executives will be able to board a plane here in Pikeville, and after just 2 stops, be able to meet with potential new markets in China, India, and Latin America. When we started on this project, it was clear to me that this new service would not only serve Pikeville, but also a much larger region, including 9 counties in Kentucky, 3 in Virginia, and 1 in West Virginia, with a combined population of about 345,000 people. And over the course of the last 3 years, we've reached out to community leaders and elected officials in each of these counties, and I had the personal pleasure of getting to know many of the county judge executives. In every instance, these leaders, even those from outside of Pike County, pledged their support, and we really appreciate it. In order to fund the minimum revenue guarantee needed to launch this service, we successfully applied for a $750,000 USDOT Small Community Air Service Development Grant. And this grant was supported locally by over 100 community and business leaders who sent in letters of support for our grant proposal, the most of any community during that particular grant cycle. We also received significant support for this grant from Congressman Hal Rogers, which we really appreciate. And I don't think I have to remind anybody in this room, Eastern Kentucky does not have a better friend and champion in Washington than Congressman Rogers. On the state level, we also applied for a multi-county coal severance tax grant. And by working with the Department of Local Government, we were successful in securing a grant in the amount of $670,000, which also included the support of the Transportation Cabinet and Aviation Commissioner Wynn Turney. And the local legislative delegation, and especially Senator Ray Jones and Representative Leslie Combs, championed this effort. However, none of this would have happened without the leadership and commitment of Governor Steve Beshear, particularly when we had to rework things a little bit. And Governor, we really appreciate your support. In closing, I want to recognize the efforts of 3 people who really made this project happen. First, Pikeville City Manager Donovan Blackburn. Donovan stayed focused all the way through. And when you look around this progressive city and see all of the growth, you can also find Donovan's fingerprints just about everywhere. Donovan and I have spent countless hours on the phone talking about this project. In meetings, we've exchanged hundreds of emails. And Donovan, I just want to say thank you for your leadership. Second, Airport Board Chairman Bill Hickman. Bill is absolutely dedicated to making this airport the very best that it can be. Bill worked hard to obtain funding from the FAA to complete the parallel taxiway, which is just about ready to open. This is a project that cost over $3 million, and it will substantially improve the safety of this airport. This airport is one of the crown jewels in the state's airport system, and Bill, we appreciate your leadership on this project and all that you've done for the airport. And finally, Southeast Kentucky Chamber of Commerce President and CEO Jared Arnett, who's not able to be here today. Jared, too, has a real vision for this community and, more importantly, this region. A strong southeastern Kentucky will bring added benefits to Pike County in terms of new jobs and growth. And Governor Beshear and Congressman Rogers, I suspect that we'll hear more about regional strategies during the upcoming SOAR conference, which will be here in December. All three of these gentlemen have served this community well. I'm proud to call them my clients and my friends. In closing, I would like to thank all of you in this room who have supported this project and have been with us every step of the way and have helped to bring Appalachian air to Pikeville. I encourage you to use the service when it starts on March the 3rd, and you'll be hearing a lot more about it as we roll out the implementation in the weeks to come. Thank you very much.
Luke, thank you. And he wasn't kidding. My wife is in the crowd here, and by nature, she is not a jealous woman. But with all the emails that were coming in at all hours of the night, Luke, we had some issues every now and then. She read the content, though. The next person that I invite to the podium is a friend, and I don't know any other way to describe him to the people of the area. It's somebody that understands the vision, understands the mission, understands the people of Eastern Kentucky and in our region, and has worked tirelessly in his capacity and in Frankfort making things happen. This is part of it. This is Senator Jones was one of the first people to step up when we came forward with our plan and our ideal, and fully vested and came on board. Like Leslie, he worked tirelessly to make sure that all of our I's were dotted, our T's were crossed, and the support that we were needed was there. He's also an aviator, so he understands the business. So he was somebody that was really easy to talk to when we were talking about a component of an airplane or the need for a particular component here at the airport. And he's lent his support financially, but more importantly, with his voice. Without further ado, I invite to the podium my friend, Senator Ray Jones.
Thank you for being here today. I think the turnout, if you look around this room, it's clear that the people of Eastern Kentucky support commercial air service. And you know, we've always had people who were skeptical about Eastern Kentucky. We've had people who were skeptical about whether we could build a medical school and make it work in Eastern Kentucky. At one point in time, Mark, I'm sure people were skeptical about whether Pikeville National Bank would grow to be the largest domestic bank in Kentucky. And we've seen the tremendous growth under the leadership of Walter May at Pikeville Medical Center. And I think when we look back a few years from now, the naysayers will be proven wrong yet again. I think that this will be a hugely successful undertaking. Because two of the things that have long plagued this region in terms of economic development and economic diversification are the lack of an interstate highway system through the region and the lack of commercial air service. Today, we are addressing one of those two long-time problems that we faced. It would not have been done, it would not have been possible, but for the leadership of Governor Steve Beshear and Congressman Hal Rogers. And they deserve a tremendous round of applause and air gratitude for their belief in this community. When this project first came to my attention, it was pretty quickly obvious that there were some folks who were naysayers, who were skeptics. And you know, it's okay to be skeptical of a new idea. It is not okay to be an obstructionist. And I want to commend Jack Sykes and Dr. Sestiva and Lyle Blackburn and Bill Hickman for having the vision to believe not only in commercial air service, but to believe in the potential of the people of Eastern Kentucky, because that's what this is all about. I also want to take this opportunity to speak out on behalf of Bill Hickman. Bill's not on the program to speak today, but some of you probably know that I've had the privilege of practicing law with Bill now for on and off for 20 years. There is not a man of higher integrity, of higher moral character, or who is more dedicated to this region than Bill Hickman. And I want to talk to you about some of the changes that Bill helped bring about to make commercial air service possible. The first thing is the parallel taxiway that Luke mentioned. But for that parallel taxiway being constructed, we likely would not have been able to get commercial air service here. Because when an aircraft landed on runway 9 or runway 27, they often had to back taxi down the runway to get off on a taxiway, which creates a safety issue. Bill was able to work with Mike Thompson, the folks at the FAA, and we were able to obtain federal funds to construct a parallel taxiway. He worked with Commissioner Turney and Deputy Commissioner Lackey at the Department of Aviation. We were able to secure a new AWOS system, which is the automated weather observation system that pilots listen to as they're on approach to the airport. And we have one that was not quite reliable, and we have a new one. We have new general aviation hangars. And another thing that Bill was able to do is he was able to work with his colleagues on the airport board to make sure that we resurfaced the runway. We had a couple of dips. As most of you know, this is a reclaimed surface mine. There was a couple of dips in the runway that had to be addressed, and we were able to do that. And what you see, ladies and gentlemen, is the most modern airport east of Lexington. There's only 2 airports, I believe, that have an ILS system, which is necessary for us to have commercial air service. In far eastern Kentucky, it's the only airport with an ILS. It is a safe, modern airport. And Bill has shown tremendous leadership in moving this airport forward. And Bill, thank you for all of your hard work. I'm not speaking individually. I'm speaking also on behalf of Representative Leslie Combs, Representative Keith Hall, House Speaker Greg Stumbo, and Representative John Short, the 4 members of Pike County's legislative delegation in the House of Representatives. And Leslie, would you stand up for a second, please? Representative Combs deserves a tremendous round of applause. She was recently named as Budget Review Subcommittee chairperson of the Transportation Committee, and that means that she writes the transportation budget in the House of Representatives. Now, for those of you who are driving home, when we think transportation, we think roads. Well, it also means airport infrastructure. And having Leslie in that position is a tremendous benefit to the people of all of eastern Kentucky. And I want to mention one other thing about Leslie. Kelsey, the airport road, Kelsey Friend Boulevard, she helped secure $4 million to help move that road on past over into Lower Johns Creek. Had that not been done, the road that came around the end of the airport may have been a serious impediment to the establishment of commercial air service here. And she has worked tirelessly with me, with Representative Hall and the other members of the delegation on behalf of this project. And I want to close by saying one person that is very important to this region that was not mentioned is Ms. Cynthia Rogers, Congressman Hal Rogers' wife, who is here with us today. Cynthia, welcome to Pikeville again. And we appreciate everything you do in supporting what I consider to be the best congressman, the finest congressman in the United States House of Representatives. Thank you.
Senator, thank you. Now moving into our keynote speaker part of the program. The first gentleman I'd like to introduce as really deserves a much better introduction than I'm probably going to be able to give. But I'm going to tell a little bit of story. A couple of years ago, when this thought came into play and the partners came together to put this program together, it was obvious that when you look across our great nation, nobody does this without subsidies, especially in rural communities, especially as a starter program. The importance of what it would bring to the community we all understood, but to have the means to make it happen was the task. Each March, I make a trip to Washington with the National League of Cities, and upon almost every visit over the last 10 years, I stop by my congressman's office. I am welcomed with open arms. We sit down, we have a chat, we talk about the need of the area, and without any description or going into depth, those things that we talk about come to fruition. This project was one such example of that. But the story behind it is that I realized that the $750,000 grant that was needed was going to be a great hurdle. In a rural market in the Appalachian Mountains, the need was there, but to get folks that control the grants to understand that need was going to be a task. So not only did we hire Luke Schmidt, we had a great grant writer on staff that put together a great package, but this was a very, very competitive grant all across the nation. We had great business leaders, as mentioned, that wrote letters of support explaining the importance, but we were still somewhat handicapped because often our region is dismissed. But there was one person in Washington that makes sure that that does not happen. As I walked to his office, I was told by the receptionist that there was a very important committee meeting going on and that the congressman, unfortunately, wasn't going to be able to make the meeting. I was disappointed. I understood, and they understood, the importance of this project. So as I started to walk out the door, a member of the staff grabbed my arm, who I've known for quite some time, and said, "Follow me, and let me check something." So as we entered down to the halls of the annex, up to the door that was pretty frightening for me, two big doors shut with all the security around it, the aide disappeared, only to emerge about 10 minutes later from the congressman leaving this very important hearing, understanding that Eastern Kentucky, there was a voice that had a need. That spoke volumes to me. Not only did he meet me, but his actions spoke louder than his words. Because what we found was, it's just a few short months later, a $750,000 announcement to our region for small community air support. Congressman Rogers, we greatly appreciate you, and I introduce my congressman, Congressman Hal Rogers.
Thank you. Thank you. Donovan, thank you for those nice words. Governor, distinguished platform guests, ladies and gentlemen, what a thrill to be here. I had the pleasure, Cynthia and I had the pleasure with staff of flying, I guess, the first flight of this airline into Pikeville. They picked us up in Somerset and flew over here. Great plane. Great trip. Instead of 3 hours in a car, it's 30 minutes. So congratulations. This is a big, big, big day. Not just for Pikeville, not just for Pike County, but for all of southeast Kentucky and the adjoining states right around us. So let me be the first to congratulate you on achieving something that's very difficult, that's very rare in this country, and that's bringing commercial air service for the first time to a region. I'm going to be a little bit like Winston Churchill. It's warm in here, and you've been hearing some wonderful speeches, but a good number of them. And Churchill was introduced one time about 12th in the line after 11 had spoken. He sensed that the crowd was a little bit anxious to leave and get some rest. So he was introduced to give his address. Churchill rose to the microphone and said, "My address is number 10 Downing Street, London, England." So I'll be a little bit like that because I know you want to hear from the governor, as do I. I've learned one thing about Pike County and Pikeville. When you people set your mind to do something, get out of the way. And this is one of those big times. I want to especially commend Donovan and the city and Jerry Darnett and the chamber and Bill Hickman on the airport board and all of those organizations that's been and individuals that's been mentioned. But these people have spent years awaiting this day. And the dedication that they've brought to this is unmatched. But it typifies the kind of attitude that I love about the mountains of Kentucky. We're overcomers. We overcome great odds. And we sometimes are dealt a pretty lousy hand. But you've made the best of it, and I congratulate you. This has taken a lot of work and dedication and worry and fuss and travel. They tell me the dictionary is the only place where success comes before work. You've been successful because you've worked at it. And over the last year or so, I've made repeated trips to Pike County to see some of the marvels that you are doing here. The Pikeville Medical Center. The beauty and growth of that place is phenomenal. The University of Pikeville, UPike now, and all of the progress around that great university. Downtown tourism and all of the work you're doing there. I could go on and on and on. The medical school. You are doing things that are unexpected of you. And you're doing it because you work. You're successful because you work. But we will overcome some of the difficulties that our region is going through. The governor and I have announced a plan called SOAR, Shaping Our Appalachian Region, it stands for. And we will be hosting a summit in Pikeville at the Expo Center on December the 9th, to which all of you are invited. He and I, some people say an unlikely pair because we're different political stripes. But I found that, he's mostly right 364 days of the year. And we've known each other since I was a prosecutor and he was Attorney General, and we became friends and we've stayed that way since. He and I agreed that we need an effort to rejuvenate the economy of this wonderful part of our state and country. And with that in mind, we're hosting a summit of people of all stripes. Everybody's invited. Come and share your ideas about what we should do, how we should do it, why we should do it. On the 9th of December at the Expo Center. I hope that you'll come. Shaping Our Appalachian Region. You know, people, when these leaders first started talking about trying to bring commercial air service to Pikeville in our region, people said, no, let's wait a while. We'll grow and we'll grow into it, and maybe it'll happen to us. Let's just wait around. And that's an easy thing to agree to. But they said, no, we're going after it. They sound like what Lincoln once said. Lincoln once said, things may come to those who wait, but only those things left over by those who hustle. Now, I don't want to call you people hustlers, but I think it pretty well describes what you've done on this and many other things. So, I'm here to add my congratulations. You know, we will overcome our problems in East Kentucky. This is one big step. This is the type of thing, the governor and I were just talking, this is the type of thing here today that needs to happen through our region. Think outside the box. Don't go along with what has gone before necessarily. Think anew. Think new thoughts. We're not bound by anything except our imagination. That's what these people did on the airport service here. We can do these things, and I want you to think it through, and I want you to be there and give us your ideas and help lead Eastern Kentucky into a new age. We powered the industrialization of the country with our coal, and before that, our timber. So we overcame difficulties. When the bugle sounded for war, to protect our flag. Our sons and daughters drove themselves to the enlistment station and signed up, volunteered, went onto the battlefield. We overcame difficulties. When litter was blanketing our region, we pulled entire communities together, our whole region, under the flag of pride to clean up our creeks and our hillsides and our streets and roads. Now East Kentucky looks more like it did at the outset, thanks to the great work of tens of thousands of volunteers that every year participate in that. When we had that problem with prescription drugs, which we still do, but when that broke out here, overdose cases flooded your medical center and all the others throughout East Kentucky. You pulled together under a thing called Unite, and you've practically driven the pain pushers, pill pushers, out of the way. You've jailed around 4,000 of them. So you can overcome, as you have for this project here. But for this region to soar, we've got to embrace new ways, new technologies. It's got to put us in the middle of the new world in which we find ourselves, connected together by this thing called the internet, which also, by the way, can be an interstate highway for us and put us in the middle of the world market for the first time in our history. In the past, we had to move off to somewhere else to find a job, me to Cincinnati, you to somewhere else. We exported our best and brightest, we still do. If we could keep one generation of them here, we'll fix it. But these new ways, we've got to take advantage of. And this commuter service that you're inaugurating here in March will be a long step in integrating us into this new world in which we found ourselves. Now, I'm thrilled to death because we'll be able to fly from here anywhere, practically. I don't know why you'd want to leave, but nevertheless, we'll have a chance. And secondarily, Luke, why would you want to go to Los Angeles anyway? But you took this on knowing the odds were against you. You took it on knowing that it would take a lot of work and cooperation. There would be some naysayers along the way you got to put up with. But you stood with it. And you all got behind the wheel at the same time. Babe Ruth said this one time. Babe Ruth. He said, don't let the fear of striking out hold you back. I could say that. It would not mean as much as if Babe Ruth said it. But you did not hold back. You struck not out, but you struck a future. Now, I want to applaud Donovan, the airport board, Luke Schmidt, all of the others who've worked tirelessly to create this feasible plan to bring successful flight service to East Kentucky. You're the first, and this will prosper. You got to use this, though. You got to use it or lose it. This is a financial undertaking by this airline. If they are not making money in a short period of time, they'll have to rethink things. So you need to use this service and encourage your friends and neighbors to use this service. We'll be encouraging people in the counties and areas around Pike also to encourage them to come here and use this service. So I hope that it all goes perfectly. You deserve it. And I want to thank you again for all of the work you've put into this. I want to thank the people that have been recognized here. It's been a real community undertaking from the governor all the way down through the rest of us. But I want to thank the governor for his great participation and interest and drive to help make this day possible. So, as you fly into a new world from Pikeville, Kentucky, I wish you Godspeed.
Again, our next speaker really needs no introduction. but I'm going to kind of tell the same type of story. Over the past couple of years, as we worked diligently to bring this to fruition, we had our company, we had our $750,000, we had the support of the community, and a year ago, we had a letter from the governor committing to the project, exercising coal severance to ensure multi-county, to ensure that the project was funded. I think the irony is the problem that we're currently facing with the loss of over 6,000 coal jobs is because of this state of our economy. Our coal severance has dwindled, but our hopes have not. I made a trip with Luke Schmidt to meet with Commissioner Tony Weidler with Department of Local Government. We brought our contracts, our PowerPoint. We were excited. We were ready to launch. The problem is that the funds were down. And not only our project was in jeopardy, but several others. We left with our head hung down, a little disappointed, understanding the environment though, there wasn't much we could do. Luke and I kind of kicked the tires out in the parking lot, pulled ourselves up, and said we'll find a way. At arriving home that evening, my wife got to hear the story, went to bed a little discouraged, only to find a phone call the next day by Commissioner Weidler that said, the governor said this project is too important to the people, too important to the region, and he will not let it fail. He will find a way to fund it. He did just that, Commissioner. As you mentioned earlier, it was the quickest turnaround of any grant that we've ever applied for. But if not for Governor Beshear and understanding the needs of Eastern Kentucky people, this project would not have happened. Again, without further ado, I invite my governor, Governor Steve Beshear.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. You know, it is difficult to overestimate the impact that daily scheduled air service could have on the development and growth right here in eastern and southeastern Kentucky. Historically, this region has been one of the most difficult to reach in the Commonwealth. A drawback that, as we all know, has had tangible consequences in decisions made about where to start a business, where to invest in a business, or where to base a career. Beginning March 3rd, however, this region will be less than an hour and a half flying time from Nashville, where passengers can connect via nonstop service to 50 major destinations throughout the United States, Canada, and Mexico. This daily service will support the coal industry and existing initiatives related to the health and higher education sectors in eastern Kentucky. And even more importantly, it's going to open up new opportunities, just like a new road or a highway would do. It's part of our ongoing efforts to invest not only in the physical infrastructure of this region, but also in the people infrastructure, the human capital of this region. As some of you know, a little over a week ago, my friend Congressman Rogers and I announced the beginning of a renewed effort to help Kentucky's Appalachian region reach its potential. The initiative, as you know, is called SOAR, which stands for Shaping Our Appalachian Region. It includes that public summit on December the 9th right here in Pikeville, as the Congressman mentioned. I want to invite all of you and a 35-member working group that is planning that summit to come on that day and give us your ideas and your thoughts about the future of this region. You know, within the world, the marketplace and the workplace changing all around us, we need to design some new strategies to encourage growth and development of this entire region. And creating daily air service is one of those strategies. I'm thrilled that we at the state government level were able to partner in this development with 2 grants, one for almost $471,000 from the Kentucky Department of Aviation, and one for $200,000 from the Department for Local Government. That's a $670,000 investment. And I want to congratulate the many people and the many local entities who have made this a reality. This is not easy, folks, as you've heard over and over again here today. The Pike County Airport Board, the city, the county, the Southeast Kentucky Chamber of Commerce, legislators, various state and federal partners, and of course, corporate flight management and public charters. Folks, this is an example. All of the hard work that you've heard about, all the years of struggling with this, this is an example of how leadership comes together and has a vision and refuses to take no for an answer. Persistence, hard work pays off. It paid off here. We're going to have daily air service from Pikeville, Kentucky. It's the same kind of effort, the same kind of vision that it's going to take to uplift the economy of this whole region. Just as we resulted in a success here, that kind of hard work and that vision will result in a success for the entire region of Appalachia. Thank you all very much for letting me be a part of this.
Governor, thank you. Next to the podium, I would like to invite 2 partners for the unveiling of our air service brand and the presentation of the plane. I invite Bill Hickman and Danny Van Hoos for a couple of comments and then the unveiling.
Buy tickets, please.
Now, how am I supposed to follow that? Well, I think Bill summed it up about as perfectly as it could be summed up. You've heard a lot of things today. I'm just blessed to be here today as chairman of the Southeast Kentucky Chamber of Commerce and representing in excess of 500 businesses. Your local Chamber of Commerce is here to tell you that we're behind this project 100%, have been on board with Luke and working with Luke in conjunction with the city and the airport board for the past 3 years. Certainly, this is a key component to economic development, economic diversification. This is certainly something that is an absolute critical need that we've had in this region, and just to be able to see this crowd here today. I made a comment to Luke. I said, well, you know what? If half of the people in this building fly next year, we're well on our way to funding this thing. So if you're interested, the fact that you're here today, if you've shown that much interest in commercial flights out of Pikeville, Kentucky, we're going to be just fine. At this time, I think Mayor Justice is going to assist here with, is that the case? Got to get the customary scissors here. But folks, we're going to unveil the logo here first, and behind me, right here, just in a second, you're going to see the logo that we'll use, and it'll be part of the branding of this initiative. Now, I don't think too many people, not too many of us could fit on that, so, but I guess because of his quick wit saying buy tickets with the assistance of my good friend Bill Hickman. Bill, if you found that magic button, ladies and gentlemen, this will be the plane. Hopefully it'll fly faster than the door.
Before we head off for the ribbon cutting, at this time I would like to invite Mayor Frank Justice and Commissioner Jerry Keith Coleman up for a special presentation.
Every time I get the microphone, I take the opportunity to bring out an individual. We've talked a lot about everybody here today. We've got an individual who works for the city of Pikeville that I think his first pay raise is like a 40% pay raise, and that's all we can pay him. He's working here because he loves his city. He can go to several different businesses and whatnot, but if you give him a project to do, I think as the congressman said, he pins his ears back and goes gives it, and that's Donovan Blackburn. There's two individuals, and Jerry Keith's got some more individuals here. We're going to give keys to the city away. Key to the city started back in medieval times, and there's walls around cities, and they were guarded during the day, and at night they were literally locked. But individuals with great honor and integrity were given keys so that they may come and go freely and liberally. Of course, there's no gates here now, but it's just an honor. That's what it's meant to be. At this time, I'll ask Governor Steve Beshear and Congressman Hal Rogers to come up for a key to the city.
Okay, at this time we would invite our guest on stage to please journey to the ribbon cutting. And then again, we would ask that the chamber members and the airport board please follow suit and be side. And then we have a check presentation right after we cut the ribbon.
1, 2, 3.